travel insurance is something that really is complex and really, for whatever reason, it's left to laymen and everyone is just kind of running around buying whatever they're buying. And let's be clear, they're buying it because these companies are doing billions, okay, billions a year. And so travel insurance is being bought, and it's being bought in a terrible way, in my opinion, which allows us to kind of really help that big hole in the market. And so if that's anything that they get out of it is just the education that either dedicate effort to knowing what you're buying or just come to us and we will help you.
I almost wonder if it's like the statistics that people give out about gift cards at the holidays, right? That all these gift cards are given as gifts, but such a small percentage, and it's an incredibly small percentage relative to what I would have thought are actually ever redeemed for anything. So it makes me wonder,
Right.
with how the travel insurance that you see through purchases of airline tickets or whatever else is embedded into the transaction at such a low cost. I wonder how many times not necessarily like the example that you gave earlier, but how many times does somebody have it, but it's never even, a claim's never even filed?
For some reason, now it must be statistical or whatever, but I would say this year, or maybe in the last 6 months. I mean, for us, it doesn't matter because we're not the ones paying your claims. I mean, we want you to get paid. That's why we're on your side to get paid. But we have tons of claims. I mean, percentages are very high. In the year before, it was quite low. So I don't know. I think it's just things happen. It's hard. I don't have that data because it's not relevant to my business, because we're not the ones paying you. But the reality is sometimes, as you know, in insurance, these companies really do get hammered. A thing like Israel, I mean, we had thousands. I mean, I think about 4,000 clients in Israel at that time, specifically on October 7th. And so insurance companies were paying out millions and millions of dollars for these, kind of big events. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy being on in terms of insurance because you got to deal with a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what happens to rates after something like that. Because if travel insurance is set up the way that any other type of insurance is set up, whoever the carrier is that writes the policy is only paying for a percentage of whatever the loss would be, and they reinsure against the rest. So something like Israel is going to definitely tap into the reinsurance marketplace, and once that reinsurance starts moving up, everything moves up underneath it. So while today it's extremely affordable, it's worth looking at to see what the overall impact of that's going to be.
Yeah, I haven't seen it rise yet that I've noticed, but yeah, listen, they are going to, make it a profitable product for them. It doesn't mean that it's something that isn't wise to buy for you, though. I think medical will always be relatively cheap, but where you do see prices start to rise is with elderly people and very expensive trips. That makes them really nervous because think about Israel. We're talking about just the event that happened. In these policies, any trip that anyone had planned within the following 30 days of that event could cancel. I mean, we're talking about unbelievable amount of money. I mean, thousands and thousands of policies of trips that people had upcoming, and there could have been major dollar value on the line there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you. It could be crazy. I'm happy I'm on the other side of that.
Yeah, and the thing is, unlike how you guys are set up, we do get affected by that stuff. So when claims pay out on my side of the house, it affects our agency's loss ratio, which affects my ability to bonus out at the end of the year for having profitable
Really?
business.
Wow.
So we actually share in the profitability, which is why frontline underwriting is so important in our
Right.
industry. Let me ask you this from the medical side. If you are looking at getting travel insurance, and I understand I'm asking you a blanket question, but I think that this one's probably going to apply to
Hmm.
most policies. What are the things that are most regularly excluded? Do you have to worry about pre-existing conditions? I have a son who has some neurological issues, special needs, nothing that really manifests itself as an actual health issue, but he could have a weakened immune system as a result to that. And if I'm a defense attorney for an insurance company that doesn't want to pay a claim, I would know a
Yeah.
whole lot about cerebral palsy and some of the other things. And so I'm just wondering, is it a situation where you really need to know whether or not you're even capable of getting it before you buy it?
No, you definitely should. I mean, a lot of people are buying things where they wouldn't be covered, but they don't know they're not covered, right? So these type of pre-existing situations, very important. If you get the correct policy, as long as you buy the policy within 21 days or maybe 14 days, depending on the company, of your trip, all pre-existing conditions should be covered. However, how do they define pre-existing condition? I don't know how deep you guys want to get into this, but like what you define as pre-existing condition may not be what the insurance company defines as pre-existing condition. So you mentioned, you have child with this situation. The way they define it in most companies is, has there been any material change in the last 60 days or last 90 days? Any new medications, any flare-ups of condition, anything like this? If not, then you don't even have a pre-existing condition to worry about. Even though in your mind it's a pre-existing condition, it's not, according to the insurance company. If you do this correctly, they're very lenient on pre-existing conditions, maybe too lenient, in my opinion, but very lenient. I mean, you could get really anyone covered for anything, and there's really no exclusion. In Canada, they do have exclusions, like, or in other countries, you'll really have to prove someone's health before they'll let you buy travel insurance. In America, it's really just statistic based. So there really is, again, assuming you do this correctly, anyone can get covered for anything. It's pretty lenient in that way.